Bethuna sinalo ke udliwana ndlebe ke naye ke uMr Naidoo andifuna ukwazi ke bethunana nawe mphulaphula osekhaya ndicela ke umamele sizawufumana ke inkcukacha ezibanzi apha ke kuye ke uMr Naidoo about ucimicimi wombane. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Reza, and good afternoon to your listeners.
And how are you, Mr. Naidoo?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you, it's a pleasure. Who is Mr. Naidoo?
I'm the Director of Infrastructure Services at Mossel Bay Municipality, and I've been with the municipality now for approximately 19 years.
Oh, wow, 19 years.
That's a long time.
Wow, it's been a long, I can tell. So, Mr. Naidoo, does the municipality have any contingent plans for the provision of the essential service in the event of prolonged power interruptions?
Prolonged interruptions.
Please.
Okay, absolutely. The municipality has put in place measures to cater for essential services such as potable water and sewage during prolonged outages. Now, as we know, prolonged outages will adversely affect traffic and telecommunications infrastructure. Generators have been installed at most of our wastewater treatment works and our water purification plants.
Okay.
We have a total of 14 large generators at these essential plants. From very small generators right up to 1 megawatt. All our traffic lights are equipped with backup battery supplies. There are some areas where water cannot gravitate to the reservoirs, and these areas will unfortunately be supplied with tankers during prolonged water
crisis.
During emergencies and prolonged interruptions. And then the municipality has received a grant of 5 million rand recently, and we've ordered generators. There's 3 big generators that will be installed at our plants, and that will also assist during the interruptions.
Okay. What other long-term plans for the Mossel Bay municipality have to address the energy crisis?
Okay, there's various projects that are currently being implemented. Yesterday we had a bid specification meeting for a 1 megawatt PV battery storage plant that will be installed at our wastewater treatment works. The estimated cost of that project will be in the region of just around 237 million. When the system is, when the plant is fully established and running, it will serve as a microgrid that will also cater for other developments around the area. But the plant will allow for certain expansions to take place as well.
Okay.
So in other words, you initially install 1 battery bank, and then you can expand on that up to 5 megawatt.
Okay.
And then tenders have also been invited for IPP project, Independent Power Project at Mossel Bay, where we're requesting tenders from to submit proposals for plants between 5 megawatt and 30 megawatt. Now that is quite a lot. It's quite a massive plant, generation plant, and unfortunately it's quite a long process. It's a 2-stage tender. The initial tender will be, or the initial process is to evaluate the technical. It will be a technical evaluation, and then the second stage will be looking at the financials and all of that. But we hope to conclude the process within the next 12 months. And then at the same time, we're also busy with the construction of a 66 kV overhead line between Mossel Bay and the Okotbotma substation. That project cost around 16 million rand, and that is in the process of being completed. So it started about over a year ago, and it's almost completed now. So those are some of the projects that we are implementing in the short term. We've also implemented various renewable energy projects in terms of solar installations, solar street lighting, solar water heaters. There's also energy efficiency projects like replacement of existing conventional street lights with energy efficient lights. And then we've got a demand side management project where we cut off geysers during peak hours.
Okay.
So those are some of the initiatives that we've implemented to reduce consumption, especially during our peak periods.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if I had mentioned earlier on, but your battery backup supplies for traffic lights. So when we lose power for long periods, then at least our traffic lights still continue to work.
Does the municipality have a spare capacity for future load growth?
Absolutely. We've done a master plan study which was completed about a year ago. Currently our maximum demand is around 70 megawatt. The authorized demand, that is the agreement that we signed with Eskom, is to consume up to 82 megawatts. So there is spare capacity of around 12 megawatt to cater for future load growth.
Oh. Okay, why do we experience frequent power interruptions in some part of Asla and Guantanamo?
Okay, you would have noticed a lot of these interruptions are immediately after the load shedding period. So you have a prolonged interruption, and then when the power comes back on, then you have these breakers are tripping. And obviously it's an inconvenience to our customers because now the load shedding is extended for a longer period.
5 hours.
Yeah, there's a few reasons for that. What we did find is that in a lot of cases, people have their appliances still left on, and then with all the appliances coming on simultaneously, then the circuit breakers trip on overload. But then we also find that unfortunately, we also have a lot of tampering, and now what happens is that when the power comes on, people either in a lot of cases, because the wiring is not of a correct standard, it causes the breakers to trip on earth fault and overcurrent or whatever.
Yes. Can you highlight some of the dangers associated with the electricity distribution equipment?
Okay. Now this is quite a good question, and I think it's our listeners should pay careful attention to it. Power lines should never be touched or cut, even if they appear to be dead.
Oh, okay.
Lines that look as if they have been tampered with should always be reported. Never enter fenced or enclosed electricity substations.
Okay.
Wiring used in illegal connections is often not insulated and lies across floors, the road, and even the veld. This is extremely dangerous, as even small amounts of electricity can kill people. People that make illegal connections and tamper with meters often charge a connection fee, but ignore safety precautions. This puts users at risk of electrocution. Don't play beneath power lines or near power stations, and if they get caught in the cables, don't try to remove them yourself.
Okay.
You need to be insulated at all times, and then keep away from broken power cables and any electrical wires. Don't climb trees or other structures that are close to power cables or illegal connections. So it's imperative, it's important to keep away from power lines, live power lines. Shouldn't be walking in close proximity to lines. Also carrying of objects like ladders or other rods, etc., that are not insulated can be extremely dangerous as well.
Oh, wow. Can you give us, Mr. Naidoo, a brief overview of the legal requirements pertaining to the electrical installations?
Okay, this is also quite an important question, and I think we should also pay careful attention to this here. customers are not allowed to resell electricity without written permission from the municipality.
Okay.
Be on the lookout for criminal syndicates who often pose as legal providers and offer you services at a fee. We need to be really cautious. In terms of the electrical installation regulations of the OSHA 1993, the use of electricity is responsible for the safe use of electricity. He uses and must ensure that any extension, modifications, alterations and repairs is undertaken by an accredited contractor, and that you receive a compliance certificate for that installation.
Okay.
And then the laying of cables from the customer's distribution board to other customers for the sake of distributing electricity from one building to another, that is also prohibited. The use of non-SABS material on electrical installations is illegal. The bypassing of municipal electricity meters and protective devices is prohibited. No persons or organizations are allowed to work on municipal supply points. Electrical distribution boards or circuits that are not properly labeled can cause serious accidents. So we need to be mindful of all of these requirements. Yes, yeah, those are the...
And what is the municipality doing to curb electricity losses like theft and illegal tampering with electrical equipment?
Okay, there are various interventions. We try to do it on a monthly basis, but it happens on a quarterly basis. With the assistance of the public or the police, we go into a lot of the areas and we remove illegal wires. And then there is ongoing replacement of 40 meters, regular inspections and disconnections of meters where customers bypass meters. So what we do is we get a consumption report from our finance department.
Okay.
And then if the consumption report says 0, then we know that this is a suspect case, and we do investigations. We use a contractor to do those sort of inspections. And then we also ensure that electrical distribution equipment are suitably rated and networks are operated efficiently. And then, as I've indicated earlier on, we do continuous disconnections. If any complaints are reported to the municipality, then we send the teams out to go and do these disconnections.
Okay, and also can you give us some clarity on the type of supply that is available for resident customers and the tariff charges?
Okay, most domestic installations are restricted to 60 amp supplies and do not make provision for the redistribution of electricity, as this could result in overloadings, causing nuisance trippings of the municipal circuit breakers. What is important is that we need to understand that those circuit breakers can be reduced to 30 amps and lower.
From 60 to 30?
That's right.
Okay.
Because currently the municipality charges you a basic charge, and it's based on the size of circuit breaker you have. And currently you're paying around, most of our customers, if you're not an indigent customer, you pay 434 rand and 17 cents per month. Basic charge.
Basic charges.
And that is based on a 60 amp.
Okay.
So if you reduce to 30 amp, then you can, that 434 divided by 2. So you would pay around 215 rand.
Oh, okay.
So, but that, I think it's important for everyone to understand that they have that option. And 434 rand is a lot of money, and in a lot of cases, you don't need a 60 amp supply. You can get away with a 30 amp. And we would like to encourage a lot of our customers to reduce the circuit breaker capacity. They don't require 60 amp.
To 30.
Yes. And then if you're on the two-part tariff, your energy charge is 2 rand 44 cents a unit. Okay, and then we've got the indigent tariff. They, just to give you a brief breakdown of the different tariffs. The 0 to 50 units, it's free. Then 51 to 350 units is 2 rand 26 cents per
Okay.
kilowatt hour. Then 351 to 600 kilowatts is 3 rand 4 cents per kilowatt per unit. And then if you consume more than 600 kilowatt hours,
Okay.
you pay 3 rand 66 cents
Oh,
a
okay,
unit.
okay. I get
While still on this topic, I would also like to mention that there's a tampering fee.
Tampering free.
Tampering fee,
Okay.
if you tamper with your meter, the tampering fee is 2,552 rands and 50 cents. It's a huge amount.
Oh, wow.
And
That
then
means if you stole electricity.
if you tamper with your meter, if
Tamper
you
with
bypass
the
your meter,
Okay.
and if your meter, that is if your meter can be reused. If
Okay.
your meter cannot be reused, you pay 2,552 rand 50 cents plus the cost of the meter.
Oh, wow.
So people need to think very, very carefully before
They
they
temper their
tamper with
meters.
So customers, call or also be permanently disconnected could face prosecution in extreme cases. So this can be obviously if there's serious bypass or tampering, we can actually go to because it's a contravention of legislation, we can go lay a charge at the police station, and then if found guilty, prosecuted, then the person can be criminally liable.
Wow. Ungabi. Mr. Naidoo, why are some informal settlements still not electrified?
Alright, the municipality collects around 500 new customers every year.
500.
500, okay? However, electrification of informal settlements are funded by the Department of Energy, okay, through the National Electrification Program, and the following criteria must be met. It's important to understand the criteria. Houses that are in areas which are proclaimed and suitable for settlements, those are houses that will be electrified. Houses that are within floodplains will not be electrified. Okay? If you build a structure within a floodplain very close to a river or the river bank, you will not be electrified.
Okay.
If you build a house on private land, you will not be electrified. If you erect a house under an existing power line or within a servitude, you will not be electrified. So those are areas those are houses that are not electrified, and quite often, we are confronted with complaints or queries from the public, and when we do investigation, we find that there's people that have just moved in very, very recently,
Yes.
and now they want to jump the queue and they want electricity.
They want electricity, as in now. Yes.
Well, this is it. And in a lot of cases, we don't have the capacity as well. Your network has been constructed to cater for a certain number of houses.
Okay.
So to give electricity to the additional houses, you obviously have to put in new infrastructure, in some cases upstream, from a substation, and you may have to change this, you have to install new cables, new mini substations and all of that. So, but it's not something you can do overnight.
You have to take some time. Mr. Naidoo, we often hear consumers expressing interest in using solar power at homes. Is this allowed in Mossel Bay?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Firstly, the municipality has got a small-scale embedded generation policy in place.
Okay.
So all of that information is on the municipal website. If you need more information, you can make an appointment and visit our offices there at George Road. But there are various reasons why we've got this small-scale embedded generation policy. Obviously, with more people connecting to solar, it has an impact on our revenue and bulk purchases. And then to ensure that the municipal staff are able to work safely on the municipal networks and they are protected, we have to have certain rules or regulations in place, and then it has an impact on the physical presence of, for example, if your neighbor goes and puts up a big windmill or puts up a big panel and there's glare,
into my space.
Or, in your area, then you need to be consulted, or you need to have some sort of say in that. And then if people put inferior quality products, it will have an impact on the quality of supply in the area. And then there's metering and billing issues and all of that. But just to add on to that, because of the poor quality of supply that we're receiving from Eskom, the number of requests that we are receiving for solar installations, because now in line with our policy, that has increased dramatically over the last year. Just to give you an indication, currently we are around 654 installations that have been approved by the municipality. Almost around 500 of those installations were approved in the current financial year. And this policy has been now running for about 6 or 7 years. So you can see the sharp increase in solar installations. These are just installations where they are registered on the municipal database, and in some cases where they feed back into the municipal grid. So we do allow, to answer your question, we do allow solar installations, but we are very, very sort of carefully controlling it, because if it's not properly connected, etc., it can result in, it can lead to electrification, lead to, how can I say, electrocutions. And we obviously need to advise our customers of all the dangers that are associated with solar installations.
Mr. Naidoo, do you have any last words to our listeners?
I just want to indicate that to our listeners that electricity is a dangerous commodity. Treat it with respect. Use electricity sparingly. It's becoming very, very expensive. And let's hope, the municipality strives to provide good quality of supply, but we can't do it alone. We also have limited resources. When people tamper with the installations, it costs the municipality, it costs you and I, because the money comes from our tariffs to reinstate power, to fix the networks, etc. So, my appeal to communities, please treat our electrical infrastructure with respect. It's an essential services. We know when there's a prolonged interruption, nothing works. As I've indicated earlier on, critical infrastructure like water and sewage, that is also affected. Now, if you have a prolonged interruption and if you don't have water, what do?
Nothing.
Everything comes to a standstill. So the municipality is experiencing an increase in theft and vandalism in a lot of our areas, which is affecting quality of supply. So in a lot of cases, we experience interruptions, and simply because of theft and vandalism that are on the increase. So my appeal to everyone is, please, if you do come across dangerous installations, report it. If you do come across people that are tampering with electricity, report it. It's in our interest to actually, to be on the lookout for these criminal activities.
Mr. Naidoo, if there is any consumer or person who need help or questions, where must they go or to call?
Okay, we've got offices in various areas. There's an office at Skuman Street, opposite the fire station. You can go report meter-related complaints or low power complaints. All our number complaint fault line is 606 5000. If there's and there's also a depot in Krootbrak where you can report your complaints. Then we've got our admin offices, George Road and Rudy Barnard Street, at the corner of George Road and Rudy Barnard Street, where any admin related complaints, if for example you want to, or if you have any complaints with regard to whether it's tampering, or if you want to relocate a service, or if you want to apply for a service, you can also go to that office. And George Road, at the corner of George Road and Rudy Barnard Street in Mossel Bay. But generally, most of our complaints are handled at, our queries are handled at our offices at Skuman Street.
Thank you so much, Mr. Naidoo. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Welcome to the process. Mr. Naidoo. Upuma gena ke phake bothunana olaqendelo likamasipala ke Western Cape Mossel Bay ke ngokutsho bethunana yena ke uyi-Director of Infrastructure Service igama lakhe Naidoo. Enkosi kakhulu ke kuyasambuleka ke bethunana. I hope uzithathile ke i-notes, uzithathile i-points ezibaluleke kakhulu bethunana. Ukuthemba la box yakho yombane, ukuthemba la box yakho yombane izakho imali enkulu mntasekhaya. So it means uthenga umbane wakho, ubhatala umbane wakho, uzofumana inkonzo ke eziphucukileyo. Bethuna namlayela igama ndinguRizari saphinda sithethe emveni koko mandenze kanje bethuna kuze eksibantwini esithi amantombazana.